is Garth Sheriff, and welcome to Designing and Delivering Engaging Presentations. So I'd like to tell you a bit of my background. Prior to a certain event, depending on when you're watching this, I won't tell you the event, but I moved from doing primarily live training to virtual presentations and virtual meetings. And that transition was hard, like it was for many of us, in terms of just learning technologies and things you need to do to stay present and engage with the technology or in front of a camera instead of in front of people in a live room. What I've learned from that, though, in this experience is that I really enjoy the virtual presentation, virtual meeting format, but it does take work. It's not just simply that you're taking something that was a live meeting or a live presentation and just porting it to the virtual side. There's a lot of work that is involved, and I actually think of it more like a film, like you're a film director, you're thinking about the choreography of how it all fits together. And I like this mode because of the way in which we can get more participation from participants or from individuals inside the meeting using other tools. And I also like it because there's more control. Now, this might be different from others who might be watching this who do prefer live meetings where you're in the physical place with people, where you're in a training room or a boardroom or whatever it might be, and you're there and you can see the nonverbals and just have the energy of people in the room. And whether you like one or the other, the question is how can we make the best choice for the medium that we're in. And in this program, we're talking about virtual presentations, whether it be Zoom or Teams or Google Meet or whatever you're using to have your presentation. And the things can go wrong, we'll talk about that as well, but this is the mode that we'll talk about, virtual presentations. And when we talk about this program, there's going to be a lot of tips and tools that will give you to help your virtual presentations as well as your virtual meetings as well. We'll say meetings and presentations interchangeably. We like to leave you with specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound goals at the end of the program so you can do something to improve your virtual presentation, both on design and delivery. Now, I do want to emphasize design. A lot of times when we talk about presentations, whether they be virtual or live, we talk about the delivery, like your voice or movement or eye contact with the camera, and those are important. But right now, you might be wondering why you're seeing a picture of Nicolas Cage on the screen. There is a picture right now, that's not a mistake, of Nicolas Cage, or Nick Cage, if you know him personally. Why is he there? Now, Nicolas Cage is a fantastic actor. If you've seen Wild at Heart or Raising Arizona or any number of films where you said, wow, Leaving Las Vegas, just a lot of films where you can just say, wow, Nicolas Cage is amazing, a fantastic actor. And then there's another thousand sets of movies with Nicolas Cage where you're wondering, he's still amazing, but the film itself is not working at the same level he is. And so you might be wondering, what's the point of this? Well, to me, design is really important. Because if you're Nicolas Cage, you can elevate any material. You can take material that's already fantastic, like Leaving Las Vegas, and make it even more powerful. But he can take material, a story, whatever it might be, that is not so great and elevate it, but he has to do a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of energetic acting to lift up really challenging or poorly written material. And what I would say is that's great for Nicolas Cage. He has that ability and that energy, but I say to you this, isn't it better that the design lifts you up than you lift up the story? That you put emphasis on the design of your presentation so you don't have to be Nicolas Cage and then put all of your energy into lifting a bad script. That's why I'm using the picture of Nicolas Cage. I want us to focus on design. We will talk about delivery, but design sometimes gets left behind as an afterthought to just like how are we going to appear in front of the camera or using the video conferencing software. But I want to emphasize design, and that's why Nicolas Cage is up here. So before we begin, we're going to talk about the different modules in this program, but I also want you to reflect on what type of presentation you do like more. We're going to get into that in our first presentation. Do you like in-person presentations where everyone's in the room or virtual presentations? That's important to establish because it might give you a bias one way or the other. Now, what are we going to be talking about in this program? Well, we're going to be talking about in-person presentations versus virtual presentations, and that's why I'm asking you to reflect on those, because there is a difference and we want to approach them differently. Then we'll talk about camera, audio, and lighting, and this is the technical side. to doing something like a video conferencing software or doing something virtual that we have to consider camera, audio, lighting, what I call CAL. Then we'll talk about instructional design, and this is where the design part can lift up the material so you don't have to Nicolas Cage it, and something that's really important. We're also going to have an interviewer. I will be the interviewer for an interview with Frank Torchia, who is an e-learning designer who could help us understand what it means to e-learn a presentation, whether it be a live webinar, a live meeting, virtual meeting, or something that you record later on. And then finally, we'll talk about delivery best practices and what it does mean to feel present in front of a camera. And hopefully at the end of the program, we'll have you have some smart action goals that you can take away and improve your next virtual presentation. Let's move into the first module, virtual presentations versus in-person presentations.